Okay, let's look at this Newcastle Arsenal game, which is away at St James's Park. I mean, as you know, it's always tough to go to St James Park. You know, you've got the fans, you've got the supporters. It's like playing against 12 men. But then we have to play against the referee and the VAR as well, which we have to come to later. However, in terms of the players' performance, it was a bit tepid. Um, I mean, there was no really attacking intent from what I could see from Arsenal. If I start from the front, if we look at Saka, I mean, Saka didn't even have a shot all game. He just could not go beyond the left backs. Look at Martinelli. I think Martinelli is kind of a one track kind of player. Like he only does one thing, so he's quite easy to read. I think Martinelli needs to come inside a bit more, which is something that Trossard is quite good at. Trossard knows how to come on the inside. Whereas you see Martinelli on the byline, you know, he's running directly, he's very direct, but I think he needs to mix his game up a bit more, be a bit more unpredictable. And that's something that I think Martinelli is to learn in his game. He needs to learn to be a bit more unpredictable. You know, he needs to learn not to just run at speed and then go to the byline, you know, cross it or pass it or try to dribble or whatever. Sometimes he needs to go in, cut in, and even try a shot. And he did try a shot, you know, in the game, which obviously there was no power behind it and the keeper caught it. But he needs to do more of that because once he adds that to his game, Martinelli will be a very dangerous player. As for Saka, I don't know why Saka was very quiet. Edu Nketiah didn't even have a sniff. You know, the defenders, credits to the Newcastle defenders, Lascelles and Shaw. I mean, they marshaled him. You know, those Newcastle defenders are one of the best in the Premiership. They don't really concede that many goals. Nketiah, who scored a hat-trick against Sheffield United, and we're all praising him like, you know, like this is the guy that's better than Ivan Toney. All of a sudden, he got shut down against the Newcastle defence. He couldn't have a sniff all game. And that's credit to the Newcastle defence. So our front three were not really on firing today. There was only one or two shots on target at goal, which is very unlike an Arsenal side, but which is something that you would expect at St James's Park. In terms of the midfield, you know, we had Jorginho, we had Havertz, we had Rice. Declan, jollof chopping Rice. You know, that guy is worth every penny. He's worth every £100 million that we paid for him, but he cannot do it all on his own. We need Thomas Partey back. Thomas Partey needs to come back. Jorginho can only do so much, but Jorginho is not Thomas Partey. Jorginho cannot do those long range shots. I know he's done it once was it this season or last season that he scored from, but he doesn't do that often. Jorginho doesn't take risks. Partey will take risks. Partey would run with the ball. You know, he does the long range passes. Jorginho is more of a short pass, keep it safe, let's keep the ball, let's not try and lose the ball kind of player. And that's not something we needed to unlock this Newcastle side. As for Havertz, what can I say, you know, about Havertz? Kai Havertz, £65 million from Chelsea. What was Arteta hoping to do with Kai Havertz that Chelsea could not do? I'm not even going to speak too much on Kai Havertz because a lot has been spoken already on Kai Havertz. But all I'm going to say is he really should not be in the first team right now. He does not offer Arsenal any protection. He does not offer Arsenal any attacking. I mean, Xhaka, we miss Xhaka. I mean, we saw what Xhaka obviously was someone who's temperamental. Xhaka cost us a few games. You can argue he cost us the Champions League the season before. You can also argue he cost us the title when he riled up the Liverpool fans. Xhaka, you don't do that. But we could do with someone like Xhaka. He was going forward. He was pressing. He was scoring goals. He was doing assists. I haven't seen anything from Kai Havertz so far to convince me. £65 million. What do we do about Kai Havertz? That's the conundrum. Okay, should we move him a bit more up front and play as a striker? I don't know, but we need to do something because we can't keep playing the way we're playing all season. Then we've got the defence. Ben White is a bit sleepy today. I don't know what's happening with Ben White. The goal that Newcastle scored, the controversial goal, Ben White should be running to Willock and making sure he doesn't try that shot. But Ben White just stood there, just ball watching. I don't know what was happening with Ben White. Saliba, Rolls Royce, the guy was immense. I mean, Saliba for me, could not do any wrong. I mean, he could not prevent that goal from happening. It was impossible because there were so many caveats for that goal to be scored. Like he cannot do it all on his own. So Saliba for me, probably the man of the match in my opinion because we marshaled that Arsenal defense. Gabriel, I would say let me down a bit, and I will tell you why Gabriel let me down. He shut down Callum Wilson. Like Callum Wilson didn't have a sniff against Gabriel. Gabriel was very physical. I know Callum Wilson loves playing against Gabriel because he's a very physical player. However, Gabriel, you know, when that ball was released, the ball that they scored, Gabriel really should have. Sometimes you just have to be a defender and just kick the ball out. But I think Gabriel tried to get the ball with his left and try to cushion it so he can pass it, because that's the Arsenal way. However, he didn't get the ball, which means I think it was Anthony Gordon. Anthony Gordon kicked it, which I think is over the line. Went over the line. Willock got the ball, passed it back in. Then not Callum Wilson, Joe Linton jumped on Gabriel's back like a monkey. Gabriel fell down, and Anthony Gordon scores the goal. I think Gabriel could have done better on both occasions. Okay, so I know some Arsenal YouTube channel gave Gabriel, I think was it a 7 out of 10. That's not a 7 out of 10 performance. I'll probably give us a 6 out of 10. And then left back Tomiyasu again, nothing exciting. Did what he needed to do. Make sure that there was nothing really coming in on that left side, of Tomiyasu. But what happens is when obviously we're all the way in the Arsenal side and Newcastle did that counter attack, Tomiyasu was nowhere to be seen. So that's another problem. And then David Raya. Now this is another conundrum alongside Kai Havertz. Like, what can David Raya do that Aaron Ramsdale cannot do? I mean, David Raya has cost us the Fulham game. Like, there was a save that he could have saved that shot when it was 2-2 against Arsenal. I believe one of the goals Fulham scored, David Raya should have saved that. David Raya cost us the Chelsea game. Again, Mudryk, he was in the wrong position for that cross, which turned out to be a fluky goal. David Raya, I believe, again, I won't say he cost us the Newcastle game, but I'll say he contributed to costing us the Newcastle game. Okay? Because basically, that was a kind of a cross that he was again in the wrong position that he should have caught. But as you can see, he tried to dive for it and he missed it. So David Raya is costing us points. Arteta needs to solve this goalkeeping conundrum because this cannot keep happening. I don't see what Aaron Ramsdale has done wrong. Aaron Ramsdale did a few things wrong towards the back end of last season. Like, he cost us the Southampton game. He was terrible against Newcastle and a few other games. But this season, he's not put a foot wrong. So I'm really not sure what plans Arteta has for David Raya in terms of, is this going to be if this is our keeper for the next few seasons, we're in trouble because David Raya hasn't got that presence. He's not tall enough. For me, I'm not even confident about David Raya as a penalty stopper. I would rather Aaron Ramsdale be a penalty stopper. Ramsdale for me is more confident when coming out for crosses. He's a better shot stopper in my opinion. In terms of the feet thing, goalkeeper keep good with his feet. I'm not really worried about that. A goalkeeper needs to do what a goalkeeper needs to do. That's my opinion. I'm old school. So for me, that's the Arsenal performance. We're missing Gabriel Jesus. Gabriel Jesus would have been perfect for this game because Gabriel Jesus can link between the midfield and the attack. He can be that number 9 and he can be that wing. He can be that extra midfield presence. And the same as Odegaard. We really missed Martin Odegaard. You can see that we didn't really have that much creativity with the ball. We didn't have anyone, put the ball between a player's legs. We didn't have anyone really dribbling with the ball. And you can tell that Saka really missed Odegaard in that attack in front. We know, obviously, Emil Smith-Rowe is injured as well. Arteta doesn't seem to have confidence in Fabio Vieira playing that position. I thought Vieira would have been able to play that Odegaard position. I would have put Partey's injured, so I'd have put Jorginho and Rice, in that midfield defensive area. I'd have put Fabio Vieira, taking Havertz out, put Fabio Vieira in front of them. That's what I would have done personally, but I'm not the manager. So that's the analysis of my Newcastle Arsenal game. Feel free to disagree. I'm not going to talk about the controversial goal because enough has been said about the controversial goal. We know it's not a goal. It should have been a draw. Both teams cancelled themselves out, and that's all I've got to say.